computer. Good morning to you, Anne-Marie. And what have you been doing research-wise this last week?
Well, I'm actually feeling very accomplished. I've only just before I connected onto this, I just had time to go and get dressed before I connected. But got what I wanted ready for supervision this week. But what it was is work on the proposal or the protocol document for ethics.
Yep.
And I think it's probably way too long. Um, but they ask for a whole heap of stuff. So I'm not sure. So but I'm really pleased to have it done so that they can then have a read and go, yeah, you need to take a lot out of this or but I think it'll be really useful for me in the detail that it is for actually knowing what I'm doing, that I actually feel much more um, that I've got it sorted out. And I've done some little diagrams and things that sort of have helped me make sense of it all. One of them, the project itself, and one for
Oh, Anne-Marie's computer has frozen because we both
way.
live. Oh, here she is. She's back again. Yes, you froze for a moment there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, does that a bit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so um the analysis stuff, I did a little a diagram thing about the process and how I plan to use the process and
Yes.
that sort of thing as well. And when I'll check back with people that this is okay and
Yeah.
the extra bit that I want to do on the end, but it's made, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the thing I don't know and which I need to talk to them about is like the timeline on those sort of things, like how long you spend in the collect, like get your ethics approval, how long you spend in the data collection phase, because you could be there indefinitely. Um, with what I'm doing, with it being a case study, you could continually collect information, but yeah, how long you stay in that phase to then allow you time to do the
Yep. Okay. She's frozen again. In my experience, the analysis takes the longest amount of time. So I'm still analyzing. Oh, she's still not back with us. Yes, I'm still analyzing, and it's 10 months since I ceased data collection. But my data is just so rich that I keep going through it. Sorry, Anne-Marie, you froze. So I just was talking about how my analysis was the longest of all, and I'm still going on it.
Yeah, I'm going to just go out and connect through my phone and see if that's any better.
Okay, no problems at all. And
Okay.
I'll just keep talking. So,
Yep.
for everybody who's watching this, we are both doing digital PhDs, which means that because we live rurally and remote, we have to be able to have a university that offers fully digital PhDs where we don't even have to go to the university. Everything is done externally. And internet connection allows that to happen. However, one of the problems with living rural and remote is sometimes insufficient connectivity. So I used to live on Cape York Peninsula, and I badly wanted to start my PhD while I was there, but I couldn't because of the connectivity. I then moved to Norfolk Island and I didn't have connectivity until I had to sell my soul and get an Elon Musk, what is it called? Starlink satellite. And that fixed the connectivity problems. Now, I am not an Elon Musk supporter in any way, hate what he is doing and all of that dodgy Dodge stuff. So I'm about to swap to NBN. But Anne-Marie, are you on NBN or are you on Starlink?
No, we don't have NBN. Yeah, I'm on Starlink, but
It's
it's very
overcast.
overcast, and sometimes that interferes with it. And sometimes just finding a tree-free place at my
Yes.
house. So I don't have the means of being able to get up and connect it on my roof.
Yeah.
So it sits out in my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. On Norfolk Island, I was forever out there because of all of those big pine trees there, or not all
yeah.
Norfolk pines. I was forever out in the yard, with the app on the phone,
Mm,
turning it around to find the clearest spot to pull in the most amount of satellites. Yes. Yeah, but these are things that other people may not consider when they're doing a PhD. And you
yeah,
cannot do a PhD without connectivity.
yeah,
It doesn't work unless you're living in the city and you can go to the university every single day. Maybe then use the university's connections. But for you and I, it's impossible. Yeah. Yeah. So that's sounding to me like you have had a very productive week. So do you have supervision today to present
No, no,
example
on
to?
Wednesday, but my ideal is to get it into them on Monday so that they've got at least a chance to have a squiz
Absolutely. Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'm um like I did think I'd get it in last night, but my EndNote did a wobbly.
Are you using EndNote through the university library system or
Yeah,
have you got, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
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 I'm still an EndNote virgin. Like
yeah.
I just
Oh,
haven't gone there because I haven't got the time to commit to learning it. So I
yeah.
do old-fashioned referencing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is so time consuming.
it absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah,
But when I have read an article, if I think I'm going to use it, or even if I'm not going to use it, but it fits with my major theory areas, I copy the citation from the library site and then I just drop that into my bibliography.
yeah,
Yeah, bibliography. I got confused then. Bibliotherapy? No, bibliography. Yeah,
yeah,
so I cut time down that way, but I have to go back, of course, and format it correctly to make sure that
yeah,
it's APA 7
yeah,
style. Yeah, I
yeah.
know all of these little
The
things.
the good thing with the EndNote, so I put the reference in EndNote, and when you do the automatic download thing, it often doesn't download it quite right. So you need to check your references when you put them in there. But once you've put them in there right, they're right. But you can put your notes in there, and then
Yeah,
you can print them out as a bibliography.
yeah,
And I can attach the PDFs
yeah,
to it,
yeah.
and I can put the URL in there so that if it's something that I can just access back on the net, I can, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
all in the one thing. So
And that's really handy as a research diary because all of us
yeah,
have to keep research diaries as proof that we actually did do this research. Whereas I'm old school, like mine is all handwritten notes. And
yeah,
even when I read articles, I am the person that writes on the piece of paper. Like, see, yeah, yes.
yeah. See, what I do is if it's one that I can put into EndNote, I'll have the PDF there, and I can highlight it in there, and that keeps all my highlighted bits
Yeah,
there. I can put a comment in or whatever, and it's all in the document on the
yeah, yeah.
on the thing. So, like at this stage of the game, I'd say it's possibly not worth putting the time into, but for anybody watching who is at the beginning of a research journey, it really is.
I'm certainly going to learn EndNotes for my next lot of research because I'm not going to stop researching.
Oh, good
And
on you. Yeah.
and Paul and I have been discussing setting up a research company.
Yeah.
So I will continue to research and write and publish, obviously. So EndNote is something that I have to learn, right?
Mm.
So before I hand in my thesis and everything stops for me, I'm going to do one of the university's EndNotes continuing professional educations.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah, yeah.
I
No,
really
that's
want to learn it.
yeah. And it'd probably even be worthwhile if you have time before your uni thing cuts out, is that you go through your reference list and so you then search in your library search for your article and
Mhm.
then just go, automatic download of the reference so that you've got all your references in there. And even if you don't still have their version of EndNote, you can keep that file. And when you have EndNote again or whatever, you can just import
Drop
it
that
back
in.
in.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great idea. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, because it is so important. And I have a supervisee from Western Australia who is now deciding that they might like to do a PhD. So they
What are
can't,
you doing to supervisees?
I know, right? The university should be paying me. Oh, hang
They
on, they
should
are.
be. Yeah, yeah, you're a good salesperson.
Yes. And this is an ex-Cairns person as well. So he was in Cairns for many, many years before he moved across to Western Australia. But he has tried to access some articles from Google Scholar that he is interested in.
Mm,
He's trying to niche his topic, right?
mm.
And it's to do with trauma and psychoeducation. So he's niching, but he can't get into the articles because he's not part of a university system and these are not open access
Ah.
articles. So
There's getting more and more open access ones available, but yeah.
yeah, there's also getting more and more universities who are being told to remove certain search terms and remove research that has anything to do with those certain search terms, not in Australia, but in America.
Ah, okay.
However, the last probably 3 days, I have been seeing stuff coming out that is warning that Australian universities are now being notified that any of their current scholars or like PhD students or staff running projects that are funded by America also have to immediately cease using those particular terms. It's horrific.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And if people don't think that this can't happen in Australia, we need to wake up to ourselves and put our big
Yeah.
girls' blouses on and absolutely start doing something now.
Yeah, because there's so many American people can't believe what's what's happened and what's happening, like,
Yeah.
but it has, admittedly, their government system is how to get elected is a bit more dodgy than ours, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's very, very concerning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious about this process because as I'm writing my political sections, particularly around Gramsci and what happened with him under a fascist regime, it's exactly the same as what's happening at the moment. It's the banning of books, and we'll talk more about this on Wednesday night at book
Yeah.
club. Yeah, because it happens to be my favorite topic. Yeah, the banning of books, the banning of words, the control of what people can and can't do, the power that is held in the hands of the status quo to tell you what you will and won't do, and then the cost to those people who resist. So even though I say resistance is useful, I also believe that the means has got to justify the end. So I don't want people doing anything that is going to jeopardize their own integrity their own safety and the safety of their families. I keep reflecting on that damn book. I've got to stop reading, Anne-Marie. But that book club book for this Wednesday with
Yeah,
the cost that families paid, like
yeah,
terrible, just absolutely shocking stuff.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's very concerning for researchers in Australia at the moment, I think. But even for myself, because I have been vocal, like everybody knows I am not a right-wing supporter in any shape or form, particularly of the extreme right. So right-wing people, I'll have a conversation with them. In fact, I have great friends who are, they vote Liberal. And
Mm.
I respect their decisions and I respect their reasons why. I don't have a problem with that. But the extreme right, forget it, right? So I'm not right-wing. I am a lefty. And I have been vocal about that. And that now places me in a precarious situation. Let's say on my way to Rome, I decide that I want to fly through Los Angeles and stop off in Los Angeles overnight. Yeah. Imagine, being denied access because of what I've said on social media. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's interesting the whole social media um thing that, okay, there's the big stuff with that, but even like for jobs and things like what people say on social media and how they portray themselves and all that sort of thing. Yeah, and like we um when I used to have something to do with employing people, we did look at the social media profiles. Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And I've told all of my children that, particularly the girls who are in professional positions,
Mm,
like raise a LinkedIn profile and put stuff on LinkedIn that reflects who you are, because that's where your employers are going to go to first. They will check LinkedIn first. Yeah.
mm.
So no more New Year's Eve drunken videos or
Yeah, and see, that used to be the thing of it, but with the way the politics is as well, is like, dare you be too political about stuff
yeah,
as well?
yeah,
Like,
and
yeah,
I am. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, and I know that it even with me, like some people share stuff and I go, and I'm friends with them.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
I actually remove when I see people who are out and out Trump supporters, I remove them.
Mm,
Because I'm just not interested in looking at that stuff, having it as part of my feed. Uh, Jay Bavel has really interesting stuff on in groups and out groups. And if you're a member of an in group, you are more likely to form a connection with other members of your in group. So we're an in group, right? Our book club
mm,
is an in group. Our research group is an in group. So we're much more likely to support members of our in group before somebody in an out group, which is a group that we don't know anything about. We
yeah,
may,
yeah,
there may be this person over here, their house may have burnt down and they may have a GoFundMe page up. We may give to that. But if your house burnt down and you put up a GoFundMe page, I would be the first one to put in
mm,
a sum of money, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
of the connection. And that's
yeah,
what Brene Brown says too in several of her books. She says connection over comparison. And it's not until I juxtaposed her stuff with Jay Bavel's that I went, there's something like very, very strong in the connection with people. It's very important. And that made me then look at social media differently as well.
mm,
Like why do we have so many contacts, but we might only connect with a small section of them? What is that about? That's not just about the algorithm. That's also about us as people. Could be time, because it does take time to connect with people and read their stuff and comments. And I don't know about you, but I don't have time.
mm.
Yeah. Uh,
No, not so much.
no,
Although
no.
now I've got this little bit of work done that I wanted to. I have got a bit of a sense of um, freedom just for a
So you
wee
need to
while.
celebrate. You need to
Yeah, yeah.
celebrate because this is a huge thing. Now,
Yeah.
when's your COC? Have they booked a date for that yet?
Oh no, it's not for ages it needs to be, but
Yeah.
it depends on how
Hey,
I'm going with it. But and this document's not it's not complete, but I've got um the first part of it, I reckon, the literature review and the reasons why and the outcomes and all that sort of stuff. I think I've got really, really good. I think I've even, the process, probably the analysis probably needs a bit more work, but it's got the bones of it
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Um, so I think that I should be able to, get it done within, well, the next 6 months anyway.
So the COC is usually within the first 6 months,
Yeah,
or,
no,
or around about 6 months after you've joined up.
yeah, okay. No,
They haven't said.
they haven't said the thing so I was needing to do the ethics thing. And I think they said I had 18 months to do the next thing.
So
Um,
you need to go to the milestones on the university
yeah,
webpage.
no, the first one was at 18 months, the first milestone on mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
ethics for
No, ethics before that. But yeah,
okay. See, every university is
it
different.
has a bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I put a lot of work into my COC, like huge amount of work. And you came to my COC, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were there, yes. But a lot of work went into that. And then I immediately started on my ethics to get my ethics in by a certain date.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But of
Yeah.
course, I had to mention ethics in my COC document. But then my application to the ethics committee was something different. And again, I put 100% into that. But things change, Anne-Marie. As we learn new information or come across new theorists or um, new ways of doing things, like new models,
Mm.
things change. So it's really interesting for me when I look back at everything. Like my original research proposal to get into a PhD program looks nothing like my COC. And then there were changes from the COC into the ethics. And now at mid-candidature review, I'm reflecting on some of those things and again have to say, why is this now different? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's really interesting. But this
Yeah.
is
See,
the
mine
start.
has gone quite differently because, like, I didn't need to do a proposal to get in. I just sent them an email going, like, this is what I do. I'm interested in what you do. They set up um, a video conference with two of them, and then they went, yeah, well, we'd like to offer you a scholarship. But then after that, it took forever to get that actually in writing. Like, yeah, it was all very well. Yeah, we had this conversation, but yeah, to get that in writing was then, um, it took a fair while, and then I missed the letter.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And how
Yeah,
interesting that you and I have both been in senior positions and I've been in management positions in the social services. And we're very focused on KPIs and timeframes. Like
yeah,
a KPI by a certain time frame. And certainly for me, having to write all of the funding reports
yeah,
to be on time. So then we enter the university system and it works differently. So it's
yeah.
palpitations, you're looking at the dates and going, oh my God, yeah, am I going to get notification? What's happening here? Because it's a completely different
If
system
it's the
to what we were
system,
used
yeah,
to. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Very
Oh, and the
interesting.
other thing that I found interesting, maybe because I went looking for it, so recording interviews.
Mhm.
So when I do counseling sessions, I don't take notes when I'm doing it unless it's someone's date of birth, kid's name or whatever, then I'll write it down. Um, but I do being with the person and then afterwards writing, doing the reflection and reflexive
Mhm. Mhm.
notes. And that's the way I have done it. And part of that is because I found that, particularly working with First Nations people, the recording of stuff in front of them, um, they find very off-putting. And, after having a history of stuff being used against you, that's not exactly surprising.
Mm.
And so I started having a look to see whether you have to audio or video record your stuff.
Mm.
And came across things that, saying that the audio recorder, it's not apolitical, acultural, or aproblematic. That it's just the assumed way we do things, um, believing that you have to capture the truth. And so that you can prove that you captured the truth.
Mm.
But then if you um, believe that, the truth is created between interactions and experiences, well, then yeah, where does that fit? So yeah,
This is a really interesting argument that you need to start writing about now, and this can go
I
into,
have.
oh, good, yeah. So it goes
I've
into
put
your
it in
methodology.
my what I've written, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when you do your methodology chapter, that can go into there because it becomes part of the methodology. This is what the learning is saying, but this is what it's like for Indigenous people. Yeah, very interesting. And I'll bring it with me, a book called Tacit Knowledge. Where is it? Mm, it's here somewhere.
Tacit knowledge.
Yeah, and I'll bring it with me because it will be a really great reference for you as well.
Yeah. Whether we'll overlap, I don't know, because if you're coming over on Saturday, because Kirsty has her thing on going Tuesday, she has her thing on Thursday. If she's right on Sunday, I'll drive home.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 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 because I've got to go back down again in another, I don't know, week or so. So yeah, I don't want to be away for the big length of time. So,
No, of
and
course.
depending on the roads, obviously.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, well, I've got to find somebody to drive with Alexander in my car to Cairns to pick us up. And then Alexander is having his license test on Tuesday. So
Oh,
I'm
good
just,
on him.
just crossing my fingers for him because he's had a couple and
Mm.
has failed, and his anxiety has just been out of control, and the results have not been good.
Mm.
Yeah, so
It's
we're glad we're there for this test, but I'm just crossing my fingers for this boy.
no.
Yeah,
Tell him to do the squeeze
yeah,
and breathe
squeezing.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Squeeze and breathe.
yeah. I've shared that with so many people, and this one. Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. And
Yeah,
I've been using this one myself just recently
yeah.
because, yeah, you know that I belong to this other group of researchers as well. And it's been so helpful just talking things through with them. I had a bad week a couple of weeks ago where I was totally dysregulated because everything went wrong in 1 week, including one of my cousins died.
Mm.
Yeah, so it was a shit week. And I wasn't aware of how I was coming across. So I was very mean to Paul. I was very mean to the dog, whom I love dearly, going for a walk, and I'd be, come on, yeah, stop it. Yeah, I was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then on reflection, I realized that my frustration actually wasn't frustration. I was dysregulated.
Mm.
Yeah, so I had to go, yeah, I had to pull out all of the stops to get myself back to the
Yeah.
usual Megan. Yeah. But it's interesting that I had forgotten all of that.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, and when you need to apply it to yourself, it's a different story to yeah,
yeah. Well, it was
yeah,
this
when
other
you see
group.
someone else and go, this is what they need to do.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I went to this other research group. We were having a mastermind, and this is the complete thesis support group. So
Yeah.
they do masterminds as well. And in the mastermind, I put forward my frustration, and a couple of them said things that I went, "Oh, Megan, what are you doing to yourself?" Like, so it wasn't until those other people reflected back to me that I went,
Back.
"This
Yeah.
is it, girl." Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, but this is also part of the problem with PhDs. I think we get so narrow focused, and I'm certainly laser focused on it at the moment because I need to finish it. But I forget everything else.
Mm.
And I've got family issues going on in the background. One, actually, all three of the girls are separated from their husbands at the moment. So they're all ringing me like,
Uh,
yeah, it's full on.
that's something I was asked to do some support work with a child for NDIS, and I was thinking about whether I would take that on or not. And I ended up deciding that my adult children needed enough support at this moment in amongst the PhD stuff and just being able to do stuff to keep me healthy, like going for a walk.
Yeah,
Oh, and I did though go out for tea the other night and with an OT who used to come here, and then she joined a Gidgee and Griffith project and now just is at Griffith. So she works with Griffith, but she's also doing a PhD. Um, and so, yeah, we met up and went out for tea, had lots of laughs, didn't win trivia, which was really interesting here, two university students doing trivia and got beaten by the tradies, even though they shared their information with us.
I love it.
It was a lot of fun, but she also might join the draw group. Yeah,
Yeah,
she found
yeah,
the idea of that also um interesting. And all these groups are so useful, particularly when you're doing it remotely.
yeah,
Um,
yep. There's no way I could have got through without the online supports that I've had. And
mm,
look, my principal supervisor, Kim, he's just fantastic. So he's in Darwin, like he's switched on. He knows what it's like to live rural and remote without support. So thank God for him. And then there's the complete thesis support. I love draw. And in fact, I wonder, should we move our book club nights so that I don't have to miss a Wednesday of draw? That was so great last week. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no, it is good. And yeah, potentially if it suits other people, yeah, that might be an idea because yeah, I sort of went, oh, I can't do two things.
yeah, I know. Yeah. And I love book club, but I also love draw.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
only chose Wednesday nights just because we've done it on a Wednesday night before. I didn't consult with anybody around the night. I just set it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
which is fair enough.
yeah, I
Um,
will discuss this coming Wednesday
yeah,
do people want to move it? And in fact, I have to move Cardine's The Owl and the Pussycat again because the other girl from Perth, Vanessa Verschaw, her newly printed book, The Sisterhood Paradox, is,
Okay.
yeah, we're going to do that in, was that June? Yeah, I had her down for May, but she couldn't do May, so she can
Yeah.
do June. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I need to just check with Cardine. So
Yeah.
we've got, what are we now? We are March. So we've got this book this week, and then you're on for April, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so are you still okay for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're not, I will do it for you if with your
Yeah.
permission. Yeah.
Rightio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd prefer it be you. There's like my research has shown very clearly that people get more out of when it is the author reading the book on Audible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same with author talks. People turn up for author talks because
Mm.
they want to hear what you've got to say. You're the expert of the book, not the rest of us. Yeah. So I'd prefer it if it was you, but I will do it for you in your absence.
Yeah. Yeah. No. As far as at this point in time, it's on
You're
the
right.
calendar.
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I heard from Doug, I think last night, I had an email from Doug just to say that he'd been to the colouring in person on his leg. The
Oh. Oh. Yes.
So
Yeah.
he knew he possibly wouldn't be here today
Okay.
because
Yep.
he said it hurt like Billy-O.
I imagine it would.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I could never do it. I just couldn't.
Do you know, I really like, this is can you see on your screen how you've got Frida
Oh,
looking over your shoulder?
and now I got a bird on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Bluebird on my shoulder. Yes.
And do you
Yeah.
know, I did not know about Frida until I did the Creative Arts and Health diploma with University of
University of
Tasmania.
Tasmania.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I had not heard of her, which I find really amazing when the number of times she pops up now.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing. I think I heard about her from one of my supervisees many years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, and I said, no, I'm not aware of that artist. And they
Mm.
said, oh, you will love her. Mexican, feminist, colorful, flowers, animals. Looked her up and went, oh my goodness me. And her history is so sad, but
Yeah.
fascinating. Absolutely
Yeah.
fascinating. Same with Ava Peron. I don't know if you know who that is.
I've heard her name, but don't.
She was the wife of the Argentinian dictator, Colonel Peron.
Okay.
So fascinating and very sad story. They were dictators,
Yeah.
but learning about her over many, many years absolutely changed my life. Not that I wish to be a dictator, and I do not condone the violence that they inflicted on other people, like terrible stuff.
Yeah.
But her search for survival and her search for sense of self, and
Yeah.
then, of course, America changing the narrative and having to absolutely demonize Ava Peron rather than Colonel Peron. Ava was the wife.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, so there's this whole heap of distorted rhetoric around Ava Peron. She's made out to be the devil, but it's actually not all bad. She did many, many good things, but that's all, look, it's just glossed over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really no wonder that I've gone into resisting cultural status quos because there's all of these people that have been influential in my life that have these fascinating stories, but the status quo demonizes them.
Yeah.
They only share the bad stuff, which is what I guess we all have that tendency.
Yeah.
Particularly people who are divorced. It's very easy to always demonize the other partner, but the truth is divorce takes two. Just like marriage takes two, so does divorce. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we married the other person because I can't believe that I'm saying this, but we
Is
married
Paul
the
around?
I
If
know.
he is, you just better say I loved him.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul and I have these discussions all the time. So like we have a very good relationship. We're very open. Uh, but not so my ex-husband, hey? So I did marry him because I loved him, and there was a time where I called him the love of my life, but love turned to nightmare. Uh, but I have to always dig deep to remember that there was something in that person that I once loved. And that
Mm,
person is the father of two of my children. So there was
mm,
good that came of that union. Yeah, but it's digging deep. So same with Frida.
mm.
Some people just find her intolerable because they were socialist or communist. I can't remember which one. They might have been communist, or was it socialist? It doesn't matter, whichever.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm
their
not sure.
their politics were far left,
Mm,
and she was a rule breaker. She wore trousers. She smoked cigars. She painted pictures of herself,
mm,
never other people. But
mm,
she incorporated into her pictures the things that she loved. So you may not be able to see. No, you can't. So Diego's name is on here. So Diego was
oh,
her
okay.
husband.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was also a very famous artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we read that book last month on the blackbirds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting how many
Yeah.
times bluebirds show in her paintings. Yeah, it's
Okay.
fascinating, the symbolism.
Oh, yeah. And
Oh,
that's why I
here
was
we go.
doing. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Diego.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a heart.
Yes, in a heart. Yeah. To
Yeah.
symbolize, I love you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when I did it in the creative arts thing. I was doing about the symbolism of the broken column um
Yes.
painting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff up out there. And Gramsci talks about the difference between common sense and good sense. Every class, every group has their own common sense, but beneath that common sense lies good sense, the reasons for doing it. So it's the symbolism that we attach to. But the status quo tells us that no, we all have the one common sense, and this is the common sense that you will all follow. Not so true. Like,
Mm.
why shouldn't women in her era wear trousers? P.L. Travers, the author of Mary Poppins, she was, I don't know if she was bisexual or lesbian, but like her sexuality was different to women of the day.
Mm.
She smoked cigarettes, she wore trousers, she drank alcohol, she had affairs with men, so maybe she was bisexual. So very, very different. And wrote this absolutely amazing series of stories that were published, but then she was also demonized for being the woman that she was. But she was only demonized as the woman that she was because the status quo said this is how women must be. Yeah,
Mm.
I find it
I
all fascinating.
don't know. I saw something and I didn't get to like fact check it. And because I've been out of the needing of it for so long, it hasn't affected me. But they had that from, I don't know, May 1st or something, that contraception would come under the PBS. And I'm sort of going like, what? That it hasn't been under it all along. I know some of when I was working, the cost of some of them was less than the PBS anyway. So that wasn't a problem. But if you need some different types, which I know, different people have needed because it's helpful to their mental health or whatever, as well as contraception, have needed different hormonal contraceptive. And it's been really expensive.
Hmm.
And like, how can that be these days that a basic right like contraception wouldn't be included in like the basic rights of health.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. And I know exactly what you're referring to, like Morena's or Depot. Yeah, the
Yeah,
stuff
and
that,
there's some of the oral contraception receptors too are not are expensive.
mm.
Um, yeah, so
So when GST first came out, and food was GXT exclusive,
yeah,
women's sanitary products weren't. So women had to pay GST on pads or tampons.
yeah.
So I found that horrific as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so there's this inequality in society that we need to look at. But the right is more interested in economics, whereas the left is more interested in social. So you have to remember that you and I are coming from a language base and a belief base that doesn't quite fit the base
Yeah,
of these. Yeah, so it's
yeah, but I sort of think economically, you want people to be choosing to have kids when um when it is they want them, not to have unplanned pregnancies,
yeah,
not to not be able to afford the type of contraception they need.
yeah.
Um, you know, yeah,
So
or most effective for them, that
that
economically
yeah, yep. But also economic advantages to a wider society when you have a family unit who will all of a sudden be spending more money on clothes for children, and babies are damn expensive, furniture. So that also props up other businesses in the community, childcare. Oh, so many things. But you're presupposing that women have rights, hey? That women have,
Well, yes, that is the that is the problematic area I feel. But there, I was just a bit shocked by it really because, like I say, I've been out of the need to know that stuff, and like I used to work in the health in medical practice and that sort of thing, so had a fair idea of what was going on, but I've been out of that for a long time. And I just really thought that, um, I knew some stuff that my daughter was on was not included and was expensive. But I thought that was like um, a rarity rather than um, an average.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So she's got some pretty complex stuff
Grams,
and yeah.
Gramsci would call this becoming conscious. So he talks a lot about having to be totally conscious of what the status quo is doing.
Mm,
And this is about controlling women's reproductive rights. But you
mm,
make it expensive. And if they really want to do this, they have to pay a cost for this. Like, really,
yeah.
they shouldn't be doing this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But then, even from a social welfare perspective, like people who are dependent on family payment indefinitely because they keep having kids and haven't got the means to um, support them.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I just
Yeah.
found it rather crazy.
I did hear as I was rushing this morning to get ready, Paul had the ABC on, and I was half listening to a female talking about an upcoming increase to, is it called New Start nowadays, or the job seeker
Yeah,
payment?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And they were putting all of their arguments forward for increasing it. I
yeah,
certainly hope that they do. I don't even know who it was. I don't know if that was a Labor politician or a Liberal politician talking about what they will do if they get in. So I'll
yeah,
go back and find that. But
yeah,
that would actually that makes sense because
yeah.
housing is out of control.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and I know, it's all very well to say, people shouldn't smoke and prioritize. And, like I've never smoked. I'm not a smoking supporter in any way. But for people who have been addicted to smoking, they need to have that until they find a
A more
a
functional addiction.
suitable way that they can get unattached to them.
Yeah.
But the cost of it,
Mm.
and it will be prioritized against food and that sort of thing. And for um a mum that um um if she doesn't have a smoke, she'll take it out on the kids. The
Mm.
smokes are really important
Mm.
because
Mm.
when they can't have a smoke and they're addicted, it's not pretty.
Yeah. I wonder if this is the argument about where the pathology lies. Does the pathology lie within the individual who is smoking, or does the pathology lie in society that doesn't give enough support to people who are trying to get off addictions? Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is a really interesting argument, and there must be lots of research about it.
Yeah, so then I had a look where the smokes were made to see who was getting rich out of this arrangement, and the particular ones were made in Indonesia. So I don't think the Indonesian tobacco farmers were the ones who were making their money out of this $70 packet of smokes.
I didn't realize that cigarettes were made in Indonesia, and actually, I've never thought about it.
No, well, it was just a conversation, yeah, we were having, but it just made me think about, like, with things costing that much, how do people manage
Yeah,
on New Start
yeah,
or whatever? And if they've got an addiction, yeah, the impact on families and
yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Well, Anne-Marie, we have to end up, but I wish to end by telling you that I actually have found my house. I'm always searching for my house.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have found it, and
Where did you find it?
it's in Melbourne.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, very, very nice. Uh, and I am gratefully receiving all donations because there's no way. So
You
please
know,
don't smoke. I would rather you give that $70 to me to put
yeah.
toward the house and you can come and stay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I don't smoke.
No.
Do you know, what's his name? Doug was saying about the houses in Adelaide. Well, some of my family came in through Adelaide. Um, and when I stayed down there years ago, I went to a narrative therapy
Oh yeah,
thing down
Dulwich
there.
Centre. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just randomly booked. I booked at a um, hostelry thing because the Queensland government wouldn't pay for outside the state um PD, so I
Yeah.
was paying for it myself. So I stayed at this backpacker's place. It ended up being in the street that my ancestors used to live. I went and touched the stone of the church where they got married, and I went to the Adelaide Library, and they got out for me the diary of my great great whatever
Wow.
grandfather, so that I could have a read with my white gloves on.
Wow. What a
How
special
amazing
thing.
is that?
That is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm the toucher. Like that's why I
yeah.
love the Stone Georgians. I touch the stone and it's like soaking up social history. Just
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. No, it was just amazing to, have that experience. So yes, I saw you in Adelaide, not Melbourne. Because those houses are just lovely, made of
Yeah.
stone.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting too. Like I said last week, I have actually never been to Adelaide.
Yeah.
Never. It's the only Australian capital city I haven't been to. And I think twice maybe I had trainings booked for Adelaide, but then the organisations both of them cancelled. One was
Yeah.
defunded, and then I can't remember the reason for the other one. But damn it, I never got to go to Adelaide.
Adelaide.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I have a daughter in Melbourne, so
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't love Melbourne, even though it's supposedly the easiest Australian city in which to live. It's not my favourite city. I don't love
No,
cities,
I'm not.
but
I'm
I
not particularly fussed.
but I do love historic architecture.
Yes.
And for the right house, I would go anywhere. Yeah.
And
So
so
yeah,
what does Paul think about this house?
and Paul says, Megan, I am not going into debt for that amount of money.
Good on.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be independently rich.
Well, yes, he says, how about your book becomes a bestseller first and then we look?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the house won't be there then, darling. Another house will be there, Megan. And I've never heard you say that you want to live in Melbourne. Yeah, I don't, but I want that house. Yeah, anyway. All right,
Okay then.
Anne-Marie. I hope you have a great week. I will see you on Wednesday night for book club. Yeah.
Yep.
And I hope we get a heap of people. This is
Yeah.
just such a good book, this one. So many different social layers to it. It's amazing.
Yeah. No,
And
I really enjoyed it.
yeah, yeah. All right. I'll
Okay
see
then.
you next
Catch
week.
you then.
Or
Okay.
no, I won't see you at draw beforehand because we're doing book club. Yeah, I'll see you at book
Yep.
club.
Yep.
See
Okay.
you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.